It takes over a year to lovingly handcraft a Steinway grand piano here in Hamburg, Germany.
It's a hard job to learn and a lot of teaching, a lot of explaining again and again over years.
A concert grand piano is nurtured and tended to throughout its long life.
Each person has their own skills and areas that they're good at, and it's the combination of all of these that gives us the end product.
The relationship between instrument and maker doesn't end when the piano leaves the factory. In the London workshop, they are carefully restored and maintained with just the same attention to detail. Everyone working with the same objective: to build an instrument that stands the test of time. The life of a concert piano begins here at Steinway & Sons' Hamburg factory. There are over 300 artisans, hand-building around 1,200 pianos each year. Steinway is an instrument with an international pedigree, which began when piano maker Heinrich Steinway moved from Germany to New York in 1850. Steinway Americanized his name and formed a new company, Steinway & Sons. At a time when a piano was the most desirable object to have in the home, there was fierce competition to make the best piano. Pioneering techniques like rim bending were products of America's industrial age. Steinway combined this with his European design experience to form his grand piano's signature shape. The techniques are unchanged today. After bending layers of aged maple wood into a single piece, the piano rim is then held in place while the glue sets over a 6-hour period. Most of the craftsmen and women in Hamburg specialize in a single discipline. Gunther Schmidt has been with Steinway since 1981, almost all of his time spent in the damper department.
I was very young at the start, and my plan was to work 5 years here. After I want to make my master, and you see now I'm here.
The damper teams spend up to 16 hours on each piano.
Every single damper comes up when you press the key. And this is very important to play like an artist with a pedal, with feeling in your feet.
Operated by the foot pedals, the dampers control the piano's resonance.
For me, it is a very important part of the piano. It's a hard job to learn, and a lot of teaching, a lot of explaining again and again over years.
The intimate knowledge gained over decades at the Hamburg factory is often passed on through generations of artisans. Many of the piano makers stay with the company their entire working lives. For over 140 years, Steinway has had a prominent presence in the UK. The old workshop is home to some of the music industry's most respected craftsmen. As well as looking after the concert grands, they lovingly restore vintage Steinways, giving them a new lease of life.
This is just like the piano in the photo, isn't it?
It takes 6 years to train in all the different departments and become a fully qualified piano technician.
There we go.
I trained as a classical pianist at the Royal Welsh Conservatoire, but I was looking for something that meant the piano wasn't the main focus. You know, sat at a piano, but do you know what I mean, playing-wise? I didn't want the playing the piano to be a main focus anymore. So, but I still love the instrument. This is just lettering the frame, so on its own will take probably around about 3 hours or something like that. You know, it depends on the complexity. If you get an old style 8, which is around 1800s, late 1800s, they have a lot of writing on the frame, and they have an extra bar that goes across with writing on, and it's all down here as well. And so that takes a little bit extra.
The iconic iron frame forms the spine of this huge instrument. Back in the Hamburg factory, it is covered over twice with polyfiller and sanded down to give a smooth finish, ready for the decorative bronzing to be applied. In their quest for the best piano design, the Steinway family were both innovators and opportunists. Steinway drew on his European experience as a piano maker and the inventions of some of his rivals to redefine the sound of the most popular instrument in the world. By raising the soundboard bridges to different levels, cross-stringing onto a single-piece cast iron frame became a Steinway signature. This combination of European innovations with the power of Steinway's cast iron frames was the secret to their early success and an important stage in the development of the modern piano. London's Steinway Hall received its first royal warrant in 1890. Originally awarded by Queen Victoria, it has retained it ever since. Ulrich Gerhards is responsible for maintaining the royal family's collection of Steinways, as well as a fleet of Model D grand pianos, often called on for concerts around the country.
People never realize how long it takes to work on pianos, because they don't realize it's always 88 notes, and there's about 10 adjustments per note. So there's a hell of a lot of work to do. When you take the piano apart, people's eyes sort of go pop, because of course it's always a unit that is never actually taken apart, very much like people drive their cars and hardly ever look under the bonnet. By going into detail of how the mechanic works, it allows the player actually to draw more sound out of the piano.
It's vital to the piano's performance for all the elements under its finely polished lid to work together perfectly. In selecting wood for the soundboard, 75% of it gets sent back. For the tone and sound of the strings to be amplified effectively, it has to be flawless. The veneering department houses 2 generations of craftsmen from the same family.
Ich bin Ulrich Berg und ich bin ungefähr jetzt 27 Jahre in der Firma. Das ist mein Sohn. Ich kann mit dem Colin sehr gut. Er hat von klein auf immer mit mir zusammengearbeitet. Das hat sich eigentlich sehr gut, aber ich habe noch einen Sohn mehr, da ist das schwieriger. Aber mit dem Colin, das passt einfach.
Man ist natürlich stolz drauf, auch das dann irgendwo mal zu sehen, im Fernsehen, wo auch immer, dann die Instrumente zu sehen und zu sagen, vielleicht habe ich da an irgendeinem Teil mitgearbeitet. Das macht riesen Spaß.
These veneers create bespoke wood finishes, special editions for customers after a designer object as much as a musical instrument. Piano showrooms like the one in London sell these prestige versions at a premium.
When I first started, the concert grand was £2,900, which was a vast sum of money when I was on £9 a week. I'm just off at £9 a week now, but the concert grand is now 138,000, something like that. Still this huge difference.
Wow. Oh, that looks more like it.
An old Steinway piano holds its value, not just financially, but also on a personal level.
My mum used to say, well, there's always money around and people will always spend their money on good quality products. And she was proved right. As the prices have gone up over the years, the people have still maintained buying them.
With vintage pianos being a desirable product, the craftsmen in the London workshop also buy old pianos to restore and sell on. They have been known to fetch up to £120,000.
That's going to need fixing.
contrast to the Hamburg factory, where workers focus on a single discipline, the technicians at Steinway Hall learn how to fix and rebuild every part of a piano. Jeff Brett worked on his first piano as an 18-year-old back in 1969. After 47 years with the company, this is his final week at Steinway.
This is my work area all round. Yeah, all my tools and bench and so on. I've been in this little corner for the last, can't remember exactly how long. Time sort of slips under the door very quickly, so there we go. You're using your ears a tremendous amount in everyday type of work. You're listening for little noises, clicks and buzzes and bangs. My hearing problems came a few years ago when I was tuning away, and all of a sudden I couldn't hear the top end of the piano at all in one ear, which I still can't. And the left ear it's these notes here, around that area, they all sound the same to me. There we go. Times move on. Nothing remains the same. That's the drawing for the leg plates, and exactly where we know where the new leg plate's going to go in relationship to the leg. And then when Rob and all these other people come to do it, they know exactly where the leg's got to go.
Jeff sort of took me under his wing, and he's, you can tell he knows his onions. You know, he knows his stuff. And so I was a little bit nervous, sort of really, weirdly.
Does it come up any better than that? That seems darker than that.
Yeah, it's because it's more stained. It's like that, so.
Yeah. All right.
I can get it better.
Well, in that case, let's have it better.
He will always do the long-winded, proper method that looks good, looks right, and will work over the one that is more time convenient or will do the job. He will always do the proper fix.
That's it. That's what we want. Good. Excellent.
As the next generation of master craftsmen start out on their own musical journeys, the Model D grand pianos in Hamburg are well on their way to becoming the finished article. A pianist relies on their sense of touch. The regulation department are all about meticulous attention to detail. Here, they make sure every key has the same action and the response is consistent across the whole keyboard. The texture and flexibility in the hammerhead ensures every note of the piano has the widest possible range. Wiebke has been at Steinway for over 36 years and oversees quality control. She checks the sound of every instrument before it leaves the factory.
Eigentlich Mach ist Intonation, es hat mit Klangfarbe zu tun. Im Grunde ist es für das Instrument der letzte Schritt. Also ich schlage die Töne alle an. Dann höre ich, dass der Ton ein bisschen schärfer ist als die anderen und versuche jetzt rauszuhören oder vergleiche die einzelnen Saiten miteinander. Jeder Ton hat ja 3 Saiten und ich dämpfe 2 Saiten ab mit den Keilen und höre dann nur eine und vergleiche den Klang der einzelnen Saiten. Dann habe ich hier vorhin schon angezeichnet, die rechte Saite, die ist schärfer. Es ist wichtig, einer trägt die Verantwortung, das bin ich, zu entscheiden, ob das Instrument ein Steinway ist oder nicht.
Any chance I play, I stay behind after work and usually stay behind for a few hours and just yeah, get a bit of practice in. It's not a bad practice room, to be honest. So.
Once I started work, piano playing in the workshop was highly frowned on, so there to work, not play. If you want to play, you go to the College of Music, so that was that.
It takes over 12 months and 12,000 parts to build a Steinway Model D piano. Once the instrument is complete, it is ready to take center stage. All the painstaking months of hard work now lie in the hands of Ulrich, who works closely with many of the world's leading performers.
The pianos only really prove their mettle when they go on stage. The nice thing is that it combines craft with the whole musical side, with the side of working with people who are artists. It's very much like being a conductor that conducts the orchestra of the piano and makes sure that all the sections play together rather than sort of individual.
World-famous pianist Lang Lang has worked with Ulrich since his Proms debut in 2001.
Already? This is the piano you know, 131.
You need to always work with the best, friend, basically. With the piano technician, we became so close because they work with musicians so closely, and we make the change together.
The relationship between pianist and tuner is crucial, not only getting the most out of the instrument, but also the venue.
Do they have a little bit of the acoustic thing, or is it natural sound?
No, they will. You see the micros, and so they.
So they have a little bit of.
Yes,
okay.
amplified. Yeah. You see the guys over there. When you want more, then tell.
So yeah, so from the middle C on, it's a little bit dry, the sound.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Maybe the piece, I don't know. It just felt a little bit thick.
do you know which one a little bit of reverb?
Yeah, just a little bit, you know, from the middle C. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Yeah.
To stay in the same job for 47 years is a pretty remarkable achievement. Nowadays, in our world of zero-hour contracts, the average stay in one job is apparently about 4 years. Just how many pianos has Jeff improved over these years? Just how much goodwill has this likeable and brilliant technician created for Steinway?
Skilled men and women spend their lives hand-making these beautiful and complex instruments. Every minute, every hour, every key and every note, to create something more than just a mere object. It creates an experience. Over a 6-hour period. Most of the craftsmen and women in Hamburg specialize in a single discipline. Gunther Schmidt has been with Steinway since 19... The life of a concert piano begins here at Steinway & Sons' Hamburg factory. There are over 300 artisans, hand-building around 1,200 pianos each year. Steinway is an instrument with an international pedigree, which began when piano maker Heinrich Steinway moved from Germany to New York in 1850. Steinway Americanized his name and formed a new company. takes over a year to lovingly handcraft a Steinway grand piano here in Hamburg, Germany.
It's a hard job to learn and a lot of teaching, a lot of explaining again and again over years.
A concert grand piano is nurtured and tended to throughout its long life.
Each person has their own skills and areas that they're good at, and it's the combination of all of these that gives us the end product.
The relationship between instrument and maker doesn't end when the piano leaves the factory. In the London workshop, they are carefully restored and maintained with just the same attention to detail. Everyone working with the same objective: to build an instrument that stands the test of time. Company, Steinway and Sons. At a time when a piano was the most desirable object to have in the home, there was fierce competition to make the best piano. Pioneering techniques like rim bending were products of America's industrial age. Steinway combined this with his European design experience to form his grand piano's signature shape. The techniques are unchanged today. After bending layers of aged maple wood into a single piece, the piano rim is then held in place while the glue sets